Now we here, now we here. Now we here, now we here. Now we here, now we here. Now we here, now we here.
Hello and welcome. I am Laon, a certified life coach and addiction recovery coach, here to teach you manifestation so then you can manifest the life of your dreams. If you're new here, check out the drop box below. I do offer one-on-one coaching services, so all of that is at soulutionscoaching.org. If that's something that you are interested in, if you could do me the solid of hitting the subscribe button along with the bell notification, that way you are notified anytime that I post a new video, and hit that thumbs up button if you really enjoy this video, motivates you, inspires you, or gives you a new outlook on manifestation or on your life and personal development story, then, do me the solid. Okay, so today we're going to dive into a video about a topic of what to do with your feelings and thoughts when they arise, and I'm going to give you a story that I experienced. It just happened last night, so I wanted to share this. Guys, I haven't even showered yet this morning because I'm so excited to share this story because it really hit on some core things that I think is really going to be helpful for you as well. So it's about processing different emotions and different feelings or different sensations or different thoughts. It's about all of this, stuff within our body that we usually run from or fear or think that it's going to manifest if we continue to feel this way, and really learning how to process and allow ourselves to release or let go or shift, however you want to word it. Again, just figure out what resonates best for you. But how to, feel all of these things, think all of these things, and not have the fear that it's going to manifest, and finally process and no longer suppress these stories. So going into last night, I was chilling on my couch, scrolling on TikTok, and I have a dog, Oliver. He's one of them. And he is a super annoying dachshund. He is a Velcro dog, doesn't leave you alone. And is constantly moving. Like, even when he's laying down, he doesn't stay in one position more than 2 minutes, and then he's moving again. And it's always got to be touching you or on top of you or on your lap or across your body. It's super annoying. So this is a common theme for me to experience him this way. And every time I would get super frustrated because I'd be either in the middle of doing something and he'd knock my phone out of my hand or make my phone fall on my face or, move the blankets if I'm relaxing. It was just always something about it always irritated me, to my core. There was no reason for me to get this irritated with an animal, but I was. And so with that being said, what I saw finally, after I've had this dog for many, many years, what I finally saw in that moment is my emotions behind it. Instead of just feeling the frustration, I was the observer of that frustration and realized, wait, why am I feeling this? And I actually began to question. And through my question, I set my phone down, I let him do his thing, and I just observed him and observed my feelings that I associated with him. And this feeling had come up before. I felt this sensation before, and it'd be with certain people in my life contacting me. I'd get super irritated with, it didn't matter how they were contacting me. It didn't matter if it was positive news. As soon as I would see their name on my phone, it would instantly trigger a response in me to be irritated. And I never understood why, and I never questioned. I just didn't care enough to question, right? So last night I was sitting with this, looking at my dog, looking at and observing the feeling and observing the fact that this isn't the only time that I have felt this. And started to think back, well, I felt it in this situation, I felt it in this situation. So it was a common pattern that I felt when my peace was being disturbed. When I felt like I didn't want to be bothered and somebody was bothering me. Or I felt like I had more important things to be doing, even if it was just scrolling on TikTok and you're disturbing my peace. Kind of, again, it comes down to the same story, right? Didn't matter if obviously a dog's not doing it intentionally. Obviously these people aren't reaching out and being mean to me or anything. It would just irritate me for whatever reason. I had a story, a belief about it, right? So with that being said, what I did was sit with it and start to question, well, why do I feel this way towards him? Why do I feel this way towards other people with contact, and yet I still want contact, And I had stories that were clashing, right? Because I wanted to talk to these people, but I would get irritated if I talked to these people, if that makes any sense. I want my dog, I want him around, and if he's not around, I miss him dearly. And yet when he's around, I'm irritated. So you see the clash in my belief system, which is why it was causing the frustration to begin with. Okay. So moving forward from that, I sat with it. I observed it. And what ended up happening, I went into not trying to do it, but I was so deep in my thought and feeling the sensation. Really, I went down in my body and I was like feeling internally, obviously. I was just feeling the sensations. I could feel the tightness in my chest. I could feel the anger rising from my belly and like rising up, and like I could just feel the frustration and the tenseness in my body because I was irritated. I could feel like my face like frowning and like scowling. Like I just feel all of it. That this, you guys know what it looks like and what it feels like to be frustrated. And you could just feel it, the sensations in your body. So I did. And I went so deep into this and really just sat with it. All right. Sorry about that. I had to go and shower and change. I don't know what happened when I was speaking, but I got so hot that it felt like my skin was melting off of me because I was just overheated. So we had to take a break. We had to go shower. And now here we are. So I'm going to continue on with my story. I don't know what happened, but wow, I've never felt so hot. It was like I was out in a sauna in a 90-degree day. Woo! Anyways, glad to be back. Here we are. Okay. So I believe where I left off is the fact that I was sitting with these sensations in my body, sitting with these different emotions, sitting with these different feelings and these thoughts. And I noticed that when I was sitting with these emotions and sensations and feeling like the heaviness of my body and the tension and the really uncomfortable kind of sensations or feelings, that these thoughts were coming in. All the reasons why I'm so frustrated and how this person did this to me and that's why I'm frustrated, and how, my animals are just annoying and, they can't even fend for themselves. Like all these ridiculous stories that were coming up in my mind. Like they were so illogical, makes no damn sense. Yeah, I was holding on to them for like dear life. So once I started to observe these thoughts and the emotions that came from these thoughts, and then from the emotions, the tense feelings of, and when I say feeling, like the sensation, the heaviness, the tension in your chest, the uncomfortable feelings like in your belly or whatever, I started to be aware of these things. And because I was observing these things and not attaching myself to them, I was able to dissect them. I was able to find clarity and really get down to the root cause, like the belief behind it. And what also came up for me is stories of exes, like exes from like 6 to 10 years ago, right? And these people, like I have no resentment towards them. I don't care to change the story about them. Like there was nothing that stood out to me to where I'm like, yeah, I need to go in and like change my story about them. Throughout this journey, I just haven't cared. Like that's not somebody that I'm manifesting. I wish them the best, but I don't need to do this. Well, what ended up happening when I was in this meditation and having these things come to mind and really getting down to the root cause of everything, these two exes came to mind, and I realized that their love, which is just a reflection of me, but it was conditional. If I did anything that irritated them, then it would be, I don't want to be with you, or I'm going to go do something else instead. Or if I had a frustration that I was dealing with, they didn't want to hear me out. They wanted to, do anything else other than make me feel heard and seen about my frustration, or would make me feel bad if I was like huffing and puffing about something. So I realized I associated the fact that I have to suppress this emotion, or else the love is going to be conditional, right? To where I won't get what I want. And once I really dissected these things and looked back at different relationships and like, again, these two particular people that I was with for many years that made me feel this way, that I wasn't valid for feeling frustrated, that it was something that I had to ignore myself. Again, this is before I was conscious and awake and aware of manifestation and that everyone is being pushed out. So I continued to dissect and sit with this. And I realized, okay, their love was conditional. If I felt any kind of emotion, I was no longer loved, which then brings me back to childhood and explains one of the specific people that I would get irritated with if they contacted me would be my mother. Even if she wasn't saying anything wrong to me, she was just asking a question. As soon as her name popped up on my phone, again, it would trigger that response. Your love's conditional, right? So I really got down into the root, and I didn't even intend to do this. I was just observing. I was just observing my thoughts, observing my feelings and my sensations, trying to figure out why I'm so irritated with my animals. So it led me down this windy road to figure out, okay, it's actually stemming from my childhood, and it awakened me to, different relationships where I felt like this. Why I feel this now so many years later, it's because I was holding on to different stories that love is conditional, that attention is conditional, that if I need anything from somebody, like validation in the way that I'm feeling or just to feel heard or seen, then it was conditional. I couldn't feel those things. I couldn't have these emotions. I always had to be, smiling and happy for people to want to be around me. And that's not realistic as a human, right? So I had these stories that I had created unconsciously and now put shining light on it. So I sat with everything. I realized the belief system. I realized where I was coming from and that I was conditioning my love towards my animals. No, you have to sit still. You have to be a good boy for me to love you, right? For me to not find you annoying, for me to think that you're a good dog, right? Same with my cats. Like if they were trying to make bread on me or make biscuits, whatever you want to call it, and their nails would go into me, instantly that would irritate me. Like, okay, that hurt. Why are you doing this? And I'd push them off of me. Not in a mean way at all, guys. But you get what I'm saying. We've all been there with animals. So again, it was conditional. They're trying to show me love and I'm pushing them away. They're trying to show me that they want to be next to me and I'm pushing them away because if I felt emotions in my childhood, I was pushed away. So I associated love and conditions to like how you're feeling and whatnot. So I came down to all these big conclusions, right? These big revelations. Again, him barking in the background would be something that would irritate me. Now it doesn't. So anyways, to dive in deeper on this story, in this meditation, I started to realize the things with the exes, and I realized, why am I holding on to these stories about them when I don't even care about them in that way? Obviously I care about their well-being, but not to where I want them in my life. Like they're not important, right? And I realized what I wanted to do instead, I had a crossroads in front of me, right? I could hold on to the story that validates the fact that they hurt me, that it was painful, that I couldn't, I didn't feel heard or seen or anything like that. Or I could choose the opposite that would benefit me and do it for me. Not because I'm trying to manifest them, not because I want to see a change in them or make their lives better. I was doing it to release stuff within me. And because they are a reflection of me, they are me. There is no separation. It's only going to help me further my journey and rise in my consciousness. So what I did is create an ideal version of them that I would want to see them instead, to where I felt heard and seen. Pretty much revision, right? But I don't view it as revision because I already know that it was going into a different timeline where they were always this version. I'm letting go of the old version and the old timeline, right? Those stories no longer resonate with me. So I just looked at it from that point of view, but it technically is revision, right? So I'm starting to see them differently, come up with all these characteristics of what I would have wanted instead and how they are now and compared to how I last knew that their lives were. Anyways, so I sit with this. I really dive in deep into it, and I decide I'm just going to love them unconditionally because that's what I needed, right? I needed to love me unconditionally. I need to love my those versions of me, right? Because everyone's me pushed out. There is no separation, like I just said. So it's versions of me that was being reflected back to me. So why wouldn't I love them unconditionally? Same with my dog, Oliver. why wouldn't I love him unconditionally? It's a part of me. It's an extension of me that wanted to show me why I'm getting irritated to have this whole process happen. Like, he's trying to show me something here, and I kept ignoring it until I finally was able to shine light on it. So again, why wouldn't I love him unconditionally? He's not doing anything wrong. Why wouldn't I love my mom unconditionally? Like, I was just looking at all of these things of like what I wanted to, that crossroads of what I wanted instead, what I would prefer instead. And when I did this, and I started to have the self-talk and just sit with the identity of unconditional love for all, even if you do something that is annoying to me, to love you unconditionally, to understand it's just a reflection of me, that there's nothing to be annoyed about. Because it is me. I'm not annoying myself intentionally. I'm doing it to show myself something deeper and to be unconditional about the things that I'm showing myself in my reality. And when I say myself, again, everything in my reality is a projection of me. There is no separation. It's me. It's the God within me, right? Being reflected back to me. It's my conditioning. It's my belief system being reflected back to me. So I started to look at everything unconditionally. And when I did that, I felt these sensations in my body. And you guys don't have to believe in like energy or vibrations or anything like that. That's okay. But I felt these sensations in my body of like energy moving around and my body becoming lighter. And like what I explained to my client is, it's not a coincidence that timelines aren't linear, like past, present, future. They're not the horizontal experience. It's a vertical experience. And it's not a coincidence that when we let stuff go or we start to shift different stories, we feel more elevated. We feel lighter, kind of like a balloon with air in it, and it just rises, right, when you let it go. It's the same thing with our emotions. It's the same thing with our belief system. When we allow ourselves to let things go, we rise in consciousness. We elevate ourselves. So I started to feel a lighter feeling in my body. That tension that was in my chest started to break apart. It was really weird feeling. That tension that I felt in my stomach started to break apart. And I just felt lighter. And I started to feel like almost like tingly. And my cat was sitting on me. Normally, again, the nails in the chest would irritate me and make it uncomfortable to like cuddle with him. And he was purring, and I just felt his purrs of like just unconditional love. Like he's here just to love me. And I just felt so loved by all of my animals that are freaking Velcro animals. Again, usually I'd feel like suffocated, not having space, right? But last night it just hit different. I just felt so unconditionally loved by everything in my reality, by all of my animals and whatnot. So I felt all of these sensations and like my cat's purring and all of these different things, and it just felt so good. I could feel that I was elevated. I could feel that I was connected, not just to the physical things, but like, again, that my cat's purr. That's not a physical thing. It's a sensation that I could feel on my body that was connecting to my heart because he was laying across my torso. And I could just feel the connection. I could feel the vibrations. Like I was so in tune in this like meditation, even though I wasn't intending it. So anyways, I say all of this to let you know that, you know, if you're thinking these thoughts or you're feeling the sensations, like the tenseness, the heaviness, and you're feeling, you know, these different emotions, figure out why, get down to the root, start questioning. That's all I did was question, well, why? And then question, well, I felt this before. Where did I feel this before? And why did I associate this feeling with this thing? What is this thing doing that is causing this emotion? I just questioned a whole bunch of different ways until I got down to, all right, it was stemming from these relationships. Well, okay, in these relationships, I felt like this, and this is why I felt like this. This is what was being reflected back to me. Well, why do I care so deeply about other people validating my emotions? And why do I feel like their love is conditional when I'm trying to be unconditional with myself? And again, then it brought me down to childhood things. And I got down to the root that I was conditioning my experience. I was conditioning my feelings. I was conditioning my love, right? And then everyone else was experiencing that as well. Like I would condition, again, I would only love my animals if they're good and they leave me alone, right? Or I would condition it to where when I want love from you, you're supposed to take that love, but when I don't want it and I need space and you're being too clingy and you're being a Velcro dog or a Velcro cat, I got to push it away. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable because I'm not used to it, right? Again, it was all just stemming from conditioned love. So I shined light on that, and I was able to then, again, crossroads, choose the story I wanted instead, and change the story about the exes, change the story about my mom, change the story of like where it was stemming from, and starting to see my dog in an unconditional way, starting to see all of these things unconditionally. And I felt lighter doing so. I elevated in my consciousness and jumped to a different timeline where this is true and always has been true. And from doing that, I, kind of woke up out of the meditation as I fell asleep. It was just really deep meditation. I forgot all of my surroundings. Like I was so lost in my inner world. It was so cool. I love when I get that deep. But, so I felt everything. And then afterwards I was again awake and aware in my 3D, and I felt so connected to everything. And I ended up like saying, all right, I'm going to go to bed. I chose the story of what I do want. I feel really good. I feel so light, so elevated, so unconditional. And so I went to bed. And it was probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. I don't know, it was later. No reason for my neighbor to be outside snow blowing. Again, that would be something that would irritate me. These neighbors normally irritate me. They're always doing things at night. My bedroom is right here. Their driveway is right here, like on top of each other. And they're always, well, we got car alarms going off. We got slamming doors. It's always his irritating, blasting music. And last night, the dude is outside snow blowing, and obviously it's loud. And usually that would irritate me. I just felt unconditional love. Like, he probably had a lot going on. That's why he's doing it at night. And I just stopped making excuses, right? And I started to tell the story of what I do want. Like, he's not doing it intentionally to me. Okay? Again, starting to see my point of view. I know I'm in a different timeline because I've changed my point of view about everything in my reality. Nothing is triggering me anymore as far as like conditions and unconditionally loving. Because again, my neighbor would be a projection of me. You're doing something to try to trigger this irritation within me. So then I, put conditions on, well, I only have a good neighbor if he doesn't do these things. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm going with this? So I wait for him to finish, doing what he's got to do. Sit with it, the fact that I'm no longer triggered by it. I've definitely jumped timelines, and I decide, all right, it's time. We're going to go to sleep. We're going to relax, whatever. And I ended up having a dream about one of those exes and her sister. And these people I haven't talked to. Well, the one is like always BBL. When I'm manifesting something, she always comes back in and tries to talk to me, and just no. And the sister I haven't talked to in like 10 years. So, anyways, I had this dream, and in this dream, I'm just telling both of them, like, I just love you unconditionally. I love you so much. Not that I want to be with you, but I just love you so, so much. And I just need you to know that. And I just felt so much love bursting out of my chest in this dream. And again, dreams, you can give any meaning. It doesn't matter the meaning that you give them. I just knew that this was all part of releasing different emotions and being new version of self, right? Letting go of that conditioning. And then I woke up this morning and I was answering clients, and I see on my Facebook Messenger that I received a message from the sister. Again, haven't talked in 10 years. And it was something so random. Like, I'll even tell you what it was. So back in high school, I was obsessed with breakfast pizza. Oh my God, my favorite thing. And when I was with her sister, she was still in high school. So she would bring me breakfast pizza from high school. I know. The fact that, anyways. So what she had sent me was a link or whatever of this company that makes breakfast pizza, and you can order it and get breakfast pizza without having to be in high school. And it made her think of me. So she had sent it to me and said, hey, this is important information that I just needed to share with you. Well, of course you needed to share it. You needed to, show up for me in my reality and show me that I'm loved, right? Because think about this. It's something that I love. Breakfast pizza is something I love. She associates that with me. We haven't talked in 10 years. I just so happened to have a dream of her and my ex the night before, and she stumbles upon this ad for breakfast pizza and feels the need to show me I'm on her mind, feels the need to show me that she still loves me enough to say, hey, I know that you love this. Like, here you go. Go treat yourself. Have fun. You know? Again, it's seeing things from a different point of view. Seeing that, okay, she did that out of love for me. She could have just scrolled on by and even just had the passing thought of, oh, Lane really liked breakfast pizza. I remember when I used to bring that home to her, and then scroll, right? No, she felt compelled to show me that I'm loved, to show me that I haven't been forgotten about or anything, right? To show me that she still supports me in some type of way, right? That she's there for me. Just saying. So I share all of this to this story, it would be a success story, and at that rate, right, to where I'm letting go of old stories, choosing the story of what I do want, and the emotions and the sensations fell away, they melted away with that old belief system and that old timeline. I'm, again, now new version of self, and I saw something manifest in my 3D to show me that I am loved, even by people that I haven't talked to in at least 10 years, right? So I say that that's a success story. I'm super hyped about it because it feels good. I feel so much lighter. But I say all of this to say, okay, if you have a thought that continues to persist, or a feeling, a sensation, an experience, and you notice yourself every single time, it's being the observer of the way that your body is reacting to different things. And when I say reacting, it's the thoughts, it's the feelings, the sensations, the emotions, how our body is reacting. So observe those things. And once you observe them, dissect them. You don't have to do it in meditation. You can just question and get down to the root of why it is what it is that you are experiencing, why this pattern continues to show up, why this sensation, this feeling, or this thought, and just sit with it, dissect it, get down to the root, and just ask different questions to do so, and you will find that your subconscious always gives you the answer. And once you get the answer, do the crossroads of, well, do I prefer to hold on to the story, this sensation, this feeling, this emotion, this thought, or do I choose something new? And then dissect the new. What do you prefer instead? Get really clear on that. Is it prefer to see somebody different? Is it prefer to see the belief differently, to have a different belief, to have a different emotion, and stop running from these things? They continue to reappear in our reality, so then we can look at it and choose differently. Not so we can look at it and it can trigger us, and then we continue to have the cycle, the loop replaying. No, it's looking at it and saying, what do I want instead? Why is this showing up? How can I get down to the root of this so then we can clear it out, right? So hopefully this video has been helpful and you enjoyed my little story, that experience. I think it was really good. But yeah, if you do me that favor, guys, hit the thumbs up button, especially if this inspired you or gave you information that you feel is going to be helpful for you. Of course, comment down below if you found that this video was helpful, or if you did like a little meditation practice, or you're starting to observe your reality and observe your inner world and have that crossroads moment in choosing the preferred and having anything happen, even if it's just a light shift in consciousness or in your sensations. Comment them down below. Of course, I'm interested. I want to hear more. If you do have any video suggestions, again, comment them down below as well. I love hearing them and love talking about specific things and answering your questions. So if you could do that and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon, that way you're notified every time that I post new videos. And as always, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to my story. And I'm glad and happy I was able to hopefully inspire you and motivate you to want to dive in deeper to your internal world and not be so fear-based, thinking that everything is happening to us when we are in control of how we are perceiving these things. Okay? So thank you. And as always, you got this.
Bottom,